That's a fun one.
And condense it. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. All right. Our village was attacked. We were very upset. All of us villagers were tired of it. We went on a rescue mission and to stop what evil was occurring. In the process of that, people were eaten by vines. One was swallowed up by a well of unknown chaos. There was a creepy portal that we did not touch. In the process of that, we encountered our favorite hero among heroes, Mr. Skull, down in the darkest depths of this evil keep. In the process of that,
Alex, Mr. Skull was an actual skull that floated through the air. And
that's why he's called Mr. Skull.
He had a name, but we went with Mr. Skull because that was in favor. He told us of a great evil that was going on, and that he was very jealous of because he also was evil and was not in on the party.
Oh my God.
We slew, as we got down further, we got into this massive cavern full of water. This creepy ship, which we now have, but it's now wrecked. We had to slay a giant chaos abomination, sail across this little lake to the center of it, where a mysterious ritual to bring back some evil chaos lord was happening. We disguised ourselves with the body parts of chaos creatures and the tentacle kraken chaos thing, and saved our villagers, killed the chaos lord, and in a Death Star-like way, we got into the ship and it launched us into space. Where there, we starved for days until we found a giant space octopus.
When he says launch into space, he means like literally outer space, but go ahead.
Oh yes, literally in outer space. We had a spaceship.
Because why not?
Because why not? From there, we slew the space octopus, drank from its ichor blood, and ate of its flesh. And a couple days after that, after fumbling with the controls, we were able to figure out how to fly. I was looking for home. Let's see. We encountered a giant other ship, say like a galleon or even larger, and it was full of Chaos Lords that transported us to a completely different realm where they were all seated like the Jedi Council, and sent us on a quest for a it was an egg. It was the yolk of the universe, and told us, well, if we don't do that, then we just join their slaves, their chaos party that was happening up in the air, which was millions of souls spinning around, and just having a fun day as you can in a chaos dimension. That night, as we were discussing it, we were visited by every Chaos Lord, each giving us a different proposition. Meanwhile, our two lawful clerics, Ed Rufus and Elias, was met up with one of the slaves who was secretly an angel or celestial, giving us a completely different proposition. So yes, there may have been infighting. Later that day, we went to the plane of law, encountered a guardian, which was a gigantic ox or bull that was guarding this weird crystalline building that was floating hundreds of feet into the, or not hundreds of feet into the sky, but it was very high. Upon slaying it, we gained access. We had to do a bunch of puzzles where Ed Rufus gave birth to our cohort, who is now Skull Made Flesh, Mr. Skull.
And when he says give birth, he became pregnant and had a baby.
Yep.
I think I'm starting to see why you mentioned, Ross, that the party hasn't been to a town in a very long time.
They just haven't had a chance in their defense. Yeah, they've been busy.
He's been very busy.
We're not cool people, we're kind of rustic.
Yeah, we're kind of just, homemade. From there, let's see, we did a bunch of puzzles. We had Patrick, who's Gorky's character. He was crying flaming tears bright yellow tears of depression as he told us this awesome backstory of his mom, and that's probably why he became a criminal. Let's see. We were able to solve all the puzzles and get to the yoke, where we encountered exact copies of ourselves.
And in the course of the puzzles, everybody went through this path of redemption where Edrufus gave birth to a son and then raised the son over the course of the puzzles. And Patrick had to confront the fact that his mother was terrible and all this other stuff. They all went through like their life, basically. Sorry. I'm just dropping in as we go.
No worries.
Keep going, Glenn.
Also, Patrick sacrificed himself in one of the, you know, like,
Yeah, he was gonna get eaten by Mayans, I believe it was. Mayan statues, which was kind of creepy. But he was able to redeem himself, and that did not happen. From there, we met up with exact copies of ourselves, but in like the most prime, lawful, like versions of ourselves, I guess to say. And upon hearing about what we were going to do, of course they went on guard. We had to fight ourselves to get that egg. Upon killing the copies, we all had just a slight debate and argument about what we should do with the egg, in which Patrick made a move against Euleus, who grabbed the egg. Euleus commanded him with his amazing roll of word of command to just go running out into the open. We all agreed that even though we had different agreements with different demon chaos lords, the only way out of here would be with their lawful contact. So, upon hearing this, we made it to our rendezvous point with them. Patrick was still trying to get the egg, and in the nick of time, and sadly a sacrifice, at that moment, which we thought was a sacrifice, we left him behind, Patrick, in a field of meadows and a dead ox off in the corner. And this is where it gets kinky, if it already hasn't. Because time travel. For us, we were back in the Court of Chaos, and we were talking to the Lords, as Euleus and Edrufus were looking for their contact and stalling. Meanwhile, Patrick, after decades of being on his own, was encountered by the prime guardians of law. They gave him a choice to either, I think it was, live out his days here as what he was, or he can go under their tutelage and have a higher purpose. And so that he did. And our chaotic criminal became a wizard of law.
Actually, he wasn't chaotic, he was neutral, but it doesn't matter.
Neutral. Okay.
Yeah,
I remember.
You did sort of like throw somebody off a ship into the maw of a space octopus. So
I know. I tried.
He didn't do it. He was chaotic adjacent. He was close.
I tried, but I didn't do it at the end of the day.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Glenn. Sorry.
No worries. It's fine. Let's see. Okay. So we met back on the Court of Chaos. We met our contact, and Leas was going to give her the yoke. The Lords did not like this, obviously. They had their own agenda, and summoned a bunch of their goons, which were various abominations and axes, claws.
Wait, you're very, very quiet.
Yeah,
Sorry
you're very quiet now, yeah.
Very quiet. Sorry about
how about this?
That's better. Yeah.
I think I had my finger over the mic. That probably was it. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Yolk of the Egg was given to the contact, and the goons were set upon us by the Court of Chaos. As we were trying to fight our way, and just survive in general, as this contact renewed her vigor, became an angel for a few minutes, and opened a portal for us to escape. In a blink of an eye, Patrick came out of nowhere, blasting magic missiles left and right to try and give us an opening to get to them. By this time, Patrick was like 96 years old. And like 5 seconds earlier, he was maybe in his 20s or 30s to us. So we have no idea who this old man was at the moment.
We all call it like Gandalf moment.
Yeah. It was a very big trust on our part to trust an old man who came out of nowhere blasting creatures. But at that point, we had no other plan. So anyways, all of us except for 2 made it through the portal. Ed Rufus was slain in a heroic act of valor, defending us like Boromir did with the hobbits. And his son, Mr. Skull, grabbed a part of him, which was a hand, to take with him. The angel, our contact, was slain as well. We were transported back to the plane of law, and were able to. Well, we got some nice weapons off the most part. Each of us had different abilities, but they thanked us for our help. I believe. I think this was all some grand scheme of gods that we still don't know what exactly happened. Ed Rufus's hand is going to become a saint. Because his son gave it up to the Guardians, and they said they were going to keep it in their giant diamond building for reasons. And we were transported back to our ship, which at that point we were attacked maybe not even 5 minutes later by a gigantic reptoid lizard creature from space, which, even though we tried to defend ourselves, sent us into a tailspin, and we crash landed back on, I believe it was Earth. I believe is our home planet, but at this point, who knows anymore. Crash landed into a swamp, met the people from the Hills Have Eyes, but weirder because they worship frogs. And they told us about this great comet. There was a prophecy of a great comet flowing through the sky, and it was their lord's enemy, and there was this creepy dark tower off in the distance, and they wanted us to go dispatch it. In return, they would grant us a meeting with their lord, because at that point we were seeking repairs to our ship. So we went on the valiant trek to destroy this tower, and when we got there, it was a gigantic membranous mass of scales and pus. Just nothing good. And it was full of raptors. I believe it was ape men, which were let out into the ecosystem. So, of course, not going to do anything bad to the swamp. Near the top of this tower, we met a scaly snake wizard, whose name I don't remember, and he was using ape men bodies to power this gigantic plant-like laser beam that was guiding in the comet.
Like Matrix batteries. Yeah, the ape men, of course, were the Matrix batteries for the space laser, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is all published, to be clear. I didn't come up with this, but let's keep... We'll just hit the highlights. For some reason, I didn't... We're getting into the details, but now that I'm like, oh no, the details matter. Yes, like I forgot about the ape man powered space laser. But yeah, keep going. But we don't have to go. I think we just can't cover all the details. There's just so. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll keep it short from here on. We killed the snake man, and he cursed us, saying that his lord's time will come. We destroyed the space laser, and the comet deviated from the path. Hooray! We won. When we came back, people were doing like the Ewok celebration at the end of the Return of the Jedi. They were getting a celebration together so we can meet their lord. And we said, nah, we're done with Chaos Lords. So, in an act of second sight, one of us was able to see a temple off in the distance. And we went there in search of repairs. So our Lord said, yes, there's something there that should help us. that is when we learned of the Great Toad War. Full of parasite toads, evil croaking things, and vampiric frogs.
Because they crashed in like a swamp that went on, like if you imagine like the Utah salt flats where it just goes on for hundreds of miles, right? Or the Great Dead Sea, like this is just a swamp that goes on hundreds of miles, so like, so yeah, anyway, sorry.
No worries. Yeah, I like
in Florida.
And I remember.
It's parts of Florida, yeah.
Yeah, it's like in Florida. I'm joking.
It's the Everglades. You just don't know where Miami is.
They crashed in Florida, yes.
Let's see. Yeah, we descended the depths. We encountered a lot of spooky robes, an army of frogs of various shapes and sizes. We destroyed some great magical crystal stones that were embedded into a frog statue's belly. Hooray, we thought we won. On our way back up, we met the worst creature of all, which somehow, none of us took any real damage. Besides, I forget your character's name, but Ted's shield and his armor was covered in acid. At this point,
can't you remember Charles Pinchpocket?
Charles Pinchpocket,
our local tax collector.
Yes, I forgot about our tax collector. It's been a long week. And from there, we slew it. Hooray! We thought we did what we needed to do, and we would get repairs for our ship. Upon return to the town, everybody was gone. No trace of civilization was left. Hills have eyes. We went to there was ruins nearby where they were going to host a celebration, and for us to meet their lord. There was lots of tracks leading in, but no tracks leading out. So I think their lord got cranky and made them disappear. Meanwhile, we went back to our crashed ship, aka base at this point. Sad and felt defeated, and that we were going to live a life of being swamp people, just like those villagers did. And that night, we were greeted by a weird visage in our campfire that we had to create for warmth, because swamps are cold. And they told us of a great tree, or that they needed help, and to go to the great tree that lies at the center of this dark swamp. And I believe that is where we left off. And there's also giant pythons with the face of a human.
Yep. Glenn, that was amazing. I'm going to give you XP for that. That was
for sure.
I could not have pulled that off.
You did a great job, man.
Yeah.
Literally try to remember everything.
Do you all have any like game questions or something before we roll? All right, Alex, do you have any questions about anything?
All I can say is, oh my god, those adventures are off the wall.
Yeah,
they sound insane.
Yeah, and they're all published. I don't know why I feel I need to say that, but I'm like, I guess I know that I'm a sick person, but I'm not. I don't have the mind of Michael Curtis. I guess I don't know why I feel like I need to caveat that.
It's interesting because hearing about some of the stuff in these adventures, usually I look at like a cover of a DCC adventure and I think, do I really want to run this? What happens to this? And now I have a little bit of an idea.
Yeah. All right. So here we are. I'll bring you back to the swamp. And just like the last thing that Glenn had mentioned, you all returned from the croaking fane, having laid low this cult of Scafraga-Doaz, slaying the entire giant toad army and the toad godling child. And you looted it and defaced it. And when you came back, the village was empty, so you had nowhere to go except your ship. And the campfires that night, an unexpected conflagration in the fire takes you by surprise. And even more puzzling is a wavering form visible within the flames. A mousy-looking human woman dressed in a flaming wizard's regalia stands unharmed in the center of the fire. Your grasping for blades and preparing incantations is abruptly arrested when the form speaks, her soft voice audible above the crackle of flames. "Heroes," the voice speaks, sounding tired but determined. I'm in need of your assistance. Please, perdition awaits me. Flames so much fiercer than those I now speak hunger for me unless someone comes to my aid. Something had blocked my magic, but now it seems clear and I can reach you. If you help me, I will gain eternal salvation, but I will offer you my lifelong labor in return. It is a magical ring beyond the power that you can imagine. It will help you in whatever it is that you're seeking here in this endless swamp. If you are powerful enough to clear away whatever had blocked me for so long, then I don't care what drives you. If it's greed or faith or anything, please. I am Lithrazar, the Enchantress. You can find me in the stinking pools. You can know it by its vapors that rise in the air. You should not be too far away. There's a solitary tree there in the marsh of the stinking pools, and all of your questions there can be answered. And then with those final words, that strange conflagration in the flames disappears, and you have nothing but a bed of coals.
See no better option other than to rot in the swamp next to our ship. I would say we should head towards this tree into these stinky waves.
I say we should make a boat or something like that and then travel. There's nothing else to do. I don't want to be staying in that stinky swamp, and if I see another frog, I'm gonna go insane for sure. More insane than them already is.
Oh, Patrick, I would have thought the swamp would have, you would have blended in really well. And I thought you would have wanted to stay there. Then what a old decaying matter. But sure, whatever. We can go help Mythlazar, whatever.
I love you too, son. I love you too. It's mutual, you know that.
Indeed, Patrick. Indeed.
And remember, all that treasure, part of which is mine. Remember that.
Oh, I'm all set to make platinum dentures out of those discs for you. So don't worry. I've got you taken care of.
And just in case you're wondering, Giza is actually, why don't we actually go back and kind of reintroduce our characters now. Giza, you have been along for these adventures, but the parts of it that you saw were the assault upon the tower in the Starless Sea against the Chaos Lord. You were a part of that, and a group that either stormed it or fled it and made it on the ship. You saw the battle in the Astral Sea with the space octopus. And otherwise, you would have probably only seen the part where the ship got shot down, and you've been here in the swamp, working with a crew of 20, 30 different people trying to survive out here in the swamp. That's what Giza would know so far. But all of you would know Giza, and Giza would know you. You're part of this large group of people.
Yeah, let's do a little bit of self-introduction. I think that would work well.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Tell us about Giza.
Alright. Giza's kind of the archetypical person who had some skills. He was a locksmith once. He got framed for a bunch of crimes, and so he, despite having not committed the crimes, he decided that he would make a criminal of himself as his how would you say, his skills were in high demand. But he's on the lawful side as far as thieves go. You know, he's not going to backstab his crew, and he believes everybody at the end of the day really just deserves to have a good drink of ale by the fire. He's probably not enjoying being out here in the moist, dank swamps very much. I doubt his hair is looking as fancy and permed as it is in that picture there.
All right. What about Jessica?
A short story for Jessica. At this point, she is a cleric of chaos, worshipping Azidahaka, the lord of snakes and wastelands and anything that is anti-life. She was there for the assault on the keep and through most of this. She came to town a few days before everybody got riled up and wanted to do some keep raiding to save some people. Thinking that she caused all this, she's now on a path of redemption. In other words, she wants to slay as many other rival chaos deities as there is. Because her lord sent her to the town to do something, and that question has yet to be answered.
And she has a small army of snakes that are python-sized that have a Jeffica face instead of a snake face, yes.
Yes.
What about Euelis?
So Euelis started off as a indentured servant, and through the trials and tribulations he's come
When
to
you're
serve.
very quiet, I cannot hear anything what you saying.
Is that any better?
I'm not sure if it's only me.
Yeah. Is it just him or is it everyone?
You're a bit quiet, but I'm able to kind of turn you up. It takes about 150%, but I can hear you if I turn you up in Discord.
No, everything's turned right up.
It sounds pretty good, but I just have to turn you up in Discord. I know a lot of people have to do that with me too.
Yeah. No, why? It's normally good. I haven't changed anything on the setup.
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, anyway, if you guys can hear me, then... So, Euelis started off as an indentured servant to some Ponzi noble. And through the trials and tribulations that they've had, he's come to serve the Lady of Justice. So he's become... alongside the holy weapon he was granted by the Scions of Law, which has a drive to protect the weak. Euelis has dedicated his life to... truth, justice, and protecting the weak, but has also become a bit of an arrogant prick.
Yep. All right, and then what about Charles Pinchpocket?
Yeah, Charles is my fourth character, so I will waste you with the many who have preceded him. He is a tax collector. He's neutral in the sense that he's looking out for number one, and also watching to not step in number two. Thank you, Rodney Dangerfield, for that. Otherwise, he's struck up a little bit of a joking with Patrick. He likes to chide Euelis a little bit, although he's very happy to get healing, which he is actually in need of right now. And I think he's probably had as many near-death experiences thus far as anybody in the party. That acid bath almost was the end of him. So a little bit selfish, but also he's going to roll with the party wants to do and kind of see the way through.
You all could probably Ian, do you know how many hit points you get back a day? Is it like 1? It's pretty brutal, right?
Yeah, it's your level.
Your level. Okay. You could probably assume that you have rested at the ship. I should have mentioned that, but it is a desolate, what the heck do we do experience when you get back to the ship. So it makes sense that you will have rested, so you can get your hit points back if you'd like.
Well, Euelis will happily heal you, so if that 4 hit points doesn't do enough, let me know.
It does not.
Okay. I will...
I'm still down.
It wouldn't take you like a week to heal up, would it? That would be a different matter.
No, it would take like 3 days.
You can assume that you spent 3 days with the ship before this happened. Yeah.
Okay, ignore that roll,
shall we?
Yeah, just in case this causes trouble with Justicia.
Exactly. I was going to say we might need that. Yeah, we might need that. So yeah, I'm up to my new magnificent 24.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, and then lastly, what about Patrick the Atoned?
Well, Patrick used to be, a merchant, but not a simple merchant. He was like a kind of like a keel who would sell, like something like that. like, well, basically, like he would sell, he would like do anything for money. I mean, he was really when he was young, his mother like sold him, and so when he grew up and like become more mature and so he found his own mother and basically robbed her, like everything. Yeah. So and yeah. But after like whole our adventures, Patrick kind of become when he got trapped in that plane. Well, he had no choice as to redeem himself and become a wizard. So here he is. He like spent a lot of time, like I don't know how much, like 60 years alone, almost. Like it's just wonder that he weren't insane at all. Like like Robinson Crusoe or something like that. But well,
are you sure he hasn't gone a little insane?
well,
yeah, I think they all went through some pretty personality changing stuff in the course of being in the plane of law. I forgot to mention something about Charles, just as kind of an example. All of these people were normal people at one point, or even less than normal, like in a typical rustic village in Aerith. And in the course of facing a Chaos Lord and the very host of Chaos in the pits of the lower planes itself, they are very different now. And Charles might look like this, but all of these people are talented, and Charles was he has a magic spear of law. They've all obtained these powerful weapons, and the army of snakes ripped out the eyes of a frog god, child godling, and then Charles used his spear to rip out its throat and gouge out its throat, and slay it. So they're all kind of doing stuff like that nowadays. Anyways, those are our current people, assuming they survive. And all right, what you have the rising clouds of the stink pool off in the distance. It looks very far away, probably more than a dozen miles, 24 miles. It's a long ways off in the distance. But you note what she was talking about. What do you all do?
He speaks up and said, someone mentioned the idea of fashioning some boats. Perhaps some canoes would help us on our way. I like that idea.
yeah. Well, sure. I mean, I don't know much about how to craft a boat, but if you know how to do it, I think we have a lot of materials here. There's this abandoned village. Maybe they have the boats as well. Maybe we can use their boats or create much better boats. It doesn't matter.
Well, Patrick's the brawny one. I'm obviously the beauty. Everyone else is the brains. So, yeah, that sounds great.
You noticed when you entered the village that there weren't any boats or rafts. In fact, somebody looked for them. None of the stuff in the swamp would serve very well in its waterlogged condition as a boat. However, you do have things in your ship. Probably the main body of people that you're taking with you would not be able to keep up if you had boats. But I will say that if you take the time to do it, you can craft a couple of rafts for this advance party vanguard, if you will, if that's what you choose to do.
What do you guys think of that? I liked the idea when it was mentioned. Certainly, it'll keep our feet a little drier than tromping through the muck.
Well, sure.
Yeah, no objection.
No objection. I mean, you're welcome to start doing it. I'm too old for that. I'm gonna think.
And I'm far too young. He's like in his mid-30s.
My back is not so good, and the strength is not as I was young anymore. So You young people, come on! I gonna keep a lookout. Maybe something that been here, maybe gonna return. You don't know.
Yes, we have many hands. Don't trouble yourself, old man. Take a rest.
Sure. I'm gonna go count the treasures.
All right. So with all these different people, they've kind of accepted your all's leadership over the course of things that have happened. So working together, some 20, 30 people, however, have made it here. You're able to construct a couple of rafts for the vanguard to be able to advance ahead and reconnoiter these stinking pools. You craft a couple of rafts that you can both make it on, and you start, unless anybody wants to do anything else at the ship, you start pushing your way forward through the swamps, floating on the rafts. You can also choose to take any amount of treasure that you want with you. How much would you leave, and how much would you take?
I would take 15 of those discs with me, depending on if they're not too heavy.
On the rafts, no. Carrying them, yeah, it would probably have a stamina penalty. I would just say, as if you were wearing heavy armor.
Yeah, I guess I would say as much as we can without making the rafts more likely to capsize.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, sure.
Ship itself is fairly safe, isn't it?
You can assume that the shift acts as a kind of sanctuary, as far as you know.
Yeah.
Charles's view is based on all of the mishaps, adventures, whatever we call them. We may not be coming back this way. Just putting it out there.
How about we make a boat especially for the treasure?
A treasure boat?
Yeah.
I like it.
We can have the snakes pull the treasure boat.
Yes,
You do have amphibians, yeah. Ian, what were you going to say?
I was going to just suggest we take with, just enough for, reasonable expenses, plus maybe a little bit more. But then if we're not expecting to come, we're not guaranteed to come back this way, maybe that's not the best idea.
Is your intention with that to have some back here in case something were to happen and you just lose the boat and it destroys all your treasure or something like that? To have
not a terrible thought.
Yeah, you guys have a ton of money. Maybe you could reasonably leave half your treasure and still be wildly rich, and take half of it and lose half of it and still be wildly rich. So there's that.
Perhaps we should bring valuables that are lightweight but might be good for trading with persons that don't care about coinage so much. That's my first reaction if we're thinking about what treasure to bring. Also, I'm gonna grab one of those short swords laying around. Strap that to my side.
Yeah, we
Did we
have short
find out if there
swords, spears, flails. What do we want?
Was there an extra shield lying around?
He holds up his acid-eaten one that's it's just basically half a strap and a piece of wood. He's like, you can have mine.
Yeah, a lack of supplies has dogged the party, for sure. Okay, well...
We got to 30 platinum discs, isn't it?
Yeah, so since it's such a insane amount of wealth, why don't we just say you leave half and you take half, and that way if you lose every bit of it, it won't matter, and if you have half of it, won't matter. Okay, all right. So you make you make a treasure boat being pulled along by the Jeffica snakes, and you two have rafts, and you're moving yourselves along in the swamps. And I have a couple of checks to make here. Let's see. It takes you hours to make it as the rising vapors from these, what she had called the stinking pools, ahead slowly grow larger. as you're pulling the rafts along. Sometimes you have to get out despite the desire to stay dry and move the rafts over boggy peat. It's the pools, as you draw closer, stink and are uncomfortable even to be here. As you get closer, there are sawtoothed grass that and other tough underbrush that could catch and drag and hurt you. Boggy mires and winding pathways you need to take with the rafts just to make progress. It takes the better part of a full day. As you get closer, suddenly, let's see here. Euelis, make a intelligence check.
Ooh,
Nice. You realize as you get closer, you've been trying to take a careful path to stay with the rafts and everything, that ahead in the open water are these bulges sticking out of the water. They have a strange or comey-like depression to them, kind of like a golf ball. These things are all around ahead in the water. If you were to continue to use the rafts, you'll have to float past them. Alternately, you can leave the rafts and go through the bog, or you'll need to head back and try to take another path and take more time.
Yep. Don't know what these bulges are, do we?
No.
Have
They look entirely alien, yeah.
They seem inanimate, just kind of bobbing in the water.
You can, they're not bobbing, in fact, they're fixed. If anything, the water bobs along them.
Oh.
You can see that there are insects, large ones that sometimes crawl out from the edges of them, sometimes flying around them.
How close are we? Like, how many yards, meters, feet, whatever?
Yeah, probably a good 50 to 100 yards away from this. You see it as you're kind of approaching. Now, this is like an open... So, like, if you take this, it's definitely the quickest way in taking the rafts. But you can see that these things have risen up. You know, they're protruding out of the water in places.
Some kind of insect nest.
Yeah, or a barrier, I suppose.
And we see how far they extend ahead of us?
Only maybe 20 or 30 yards. There's just like this collection, an aggregate of them, and then open water beyond.
Easy
Charles,
path through them, or are they like? Is there no way we could get through without bumping into them?
It is an easy path through them, but there's no way to get through this into the open area without going. If you were to go ahead without trying to float past them.
Charles will suggest that the ragtag fleet stay back, and if a couple of us want to go forward and investigate, he'll be one of them.
I say we just start burning them straight away, and they don't ask questions.
Trouble is
I don't like it.
I don't know how much burning they will do.
Right.
Jessica agrees with Charles.
Waterlogged.
And if it's an insect swarm,
Charles, he's going to start kind of poling his way closer.
yeah, Eualis would be in the front as well.
I expected as much.
Yeah, I'm gonna be preparing my spell,
What do you say? Distance to maybe 20 yards, and he'll look for. I mean, a rock doesn't make much sense, but like something that we can throw and try to hit these buoys or whatever they are.
Okay, so I'm sorry, I may have missed it. So you said that a couple of you are going ahead?
You said it was like about 100 yards maybe, and so we're going to close the distance to about 20 yards, and then just try to... He just wants to hit the closest one with some little, like a sling stone or whatever, just to like see if it's like a hive or something.
Sure. So you take it, and you're easily able to throw a rock, and it hits it, and then it actually causes it to cave in slightly and then fall off into the water. And then it starts to bulge. And at first, this one starts to kind of shake and bulge, and then other ones around it all start to do it together, as if they're all connected underneath the surface by one tree-like branching network. And all of a sudden, they burst open, and this nasty ooze comes out, and all these things spread their wings. These insects that are probably this wide all just burst out into a giant swarm. The air is filled with an ear-shattering roar of buzzing noises as they all fly toward you.
Do they appear to have peaceful intent? Like they're sort of visiting us and
yeah, of course. Yeah, they want to be friends. And
I pull out a cup of sugar to see if that's what they want to borrow. Like, what are they coming over for?
Oh, they're visiting, all right.
Sure, let's speak with them. Maybe we can reason with them. Of course, man. Have a nice conversation about the good about
Patrick.
Yeah, how was the day and everything? You know, the weather is nice.
Everybody can roll for initiative.
What? I can't believe it.
What a plot twist.
Oh my, I always like the first one.
What'd you get,
As
Eugene?
always. 8.
Eugene got Patrick got an 8.
Yep.
And then, what'd you get, you Ellis?
7.
You also got a 7. Charles?
9.
Charles got a 9. And Giza?
7.
Giza got a 7. And then lastly, Jessica.
Ooh.
Jessica is always first. No? Yeah.
No. I thought I was going to be the last,
What'd you get?
to be honest. A 10.
Jessica got a 10. Okay. Unfortunately, the monsters are able to act first. This huge cloud of giant insects, they just dart towards you, having finally the smell of blood somewhere in their swamp after so long from their hibernation. They're going to attack randomly here. I'll just roll a d5. They're going to attack Charles.
Oh no.
Let's see, 14 and
Hit.
plus 5 is 19.
Oh. You had me at 14, so keep
Make a fortitude save, please.
I shall. That's my one good thing. Maybe not enough. 14.
14, you pass. These things start to swarm around you, tearing and rending into your flesh, actually taking specks of blood and even fighting among each other for every drop that they can get. They're eager to devour you all.
So they're tax collectors too.
Yes, you have something in common with them, yes.
People.
Let's see here. Interesting. Oh, no, this affects everyone. I apologize. That's the main thing. Does 19 not hit anyone?
That hits me.
Okay. Everybody can make, anyone who's not hit by 19, or anyone who's hit by 19 can make a fortitude save. You have to beat a 5. Please let me know if you fail.
I have 6.
Nice. Okay.
Right up to the edge.
All right. Looks like everybody passed, right? So that starts with Jessica at the top of the round.
Alright, I have no magical powers that can deal with swarms, so on lieu of that, I'm just going to start poking with my spear, trying to swat at these insects. This insect
Alright.
swarm. Does a 14 hit?
A 14 does hit.
Oh my god, okay. And I jab at them for 1 point of damage.
You do, let's see, 1 point of damage.
Yep. And awesome. And the snakes, I'm not even going to use the snakes. They're back with the rest. guarding the treasure. So I'm done with my turn.
All right, Charles.
Are these large enough to target one, or are there too many, so you're just sort of like sweeping at all of them?
What's your intention? What's your goal? What are you trying to do?
Well, what I want to do is I want to see if there's for lack of a better word, a queen bee, and I want to try to. I want to. Maybe you want like an intelligence check or something. I want to see if I can identify a leader.
No, actually, yeah. So I think I understand what you're saying. No, it doesn't
like
look
one
like
of them that's like different. Like they all have green wings. This one's got blue, something like that.
No, they look like a cloud of nondescript and mostly equal in size and the same. It is a kind of desperate, swirling cloud of all of these things. Yeah. The main thing that you notice about them is that they occupy a whole area, and it is very difficult to try to hit any number of them at a time. Yeah.
Okay. I guess
trying to hit an area is going to be the most effective because that's the...
Yeah, right. I know. I'm just kind of thinking about that. Is there anything in the boat that might be flammable other than the boat itself? Anything we can use to create like a smoke or a screen of some kind?
I am a flammable.
You know what he's going to do? He's going to, if there's any overhanging kudzu or anything like that, he's going to gather up as much of like that kind of a thing, understanding that it's probably wet or moist. But his hope is that someone else has got a torch or something we can light and basically create like a smoke or something. So he's just grabbing all kinds of what he thinks is flammable and throwing it on the front of the boat.
All right. Let's make this a regular attack and use your Mighty Deed feature to see if it's really effective, and then we'll flavor it based on... It sounds like you're trying to make smoke like bees, like you're trying to like slow them down.
Yeah, right, exactly. Like a soporific, like try to... Oh,
you also get the attack.
I don't know. It's your decision if I fall into the boat, but I definitely roll.
roll on your phone.
I rolled a 1.
Yeah.
So that's a fumble.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Let me get the fumble table. I have the PDF open here.
We'll swamp flavor it.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time I said that.
This is bad. Okay, so the fumble is I miss wildly, but miraculously cause no other damage.
Well, that's good news. Okay, yeah, I think that probably the most reasonable thing is that, you try to grab a bunch of this stuff and it kind of makes things worse. Like, there's all this swampy stuff and it just falls down into the boat and falls on all of you. And
I'm obscuring the view of my comrades and I'm just proving to be a liability.
You're doing good, Sean. You're doing good.
SOP for me. Good job. Thank you.
Patrick.
Yeah, well, Patrick is going to try to burn those annoying insects with his scorching ray. His favorite thing to do.
Patrick.
Sorry?
I'm sorry.
You Alistair before Patrick?
No. I have Patrick 8, and then you got a 7. Did you get something? Did I miss that?
Sorry, we're looking at the wrong.
An old order. I do that all the time.
Yeah, don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So, yeah.
I'm looking at the wrong roll.
That's a big one.
Oh, +4. It's to a 24. Oh, it's gonna hurt. Okay, so
you gather this up, and I'll get back to you, okay? And then because I know you got a mercurial effect and flavor and all kinds of stuff.
No. There's no for scorching ray. There's no mercurial effect.
Go ahead. Then.
Yeah.
Go ahead,
So it's like basically I cast like 3 rays at a different target. Each ray does 1d12 damage plus caster level.
All right, you can roll it at the area, which is all these things. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, and also they're gonna take fire if something,
All right, yeah.
So so I'm gonna roll 3 d12.
Yeah.
Oh no, 3 d12
plus your intelligence.
Yep. Anyway, I'm gonna roll just plus 12.
And if it's a spell attack at your level, don't you add your spell attack modifier per the class chart?
Yeah, I did. Like,
okay,
so, yeah. First, I'm gonna do 3d12, and then 3d4. Okay.
All right.
So
Describe how you bring this fire into your hands and just turn into like a flamethrower and bring all these things down from the sky.
yeah, well, after the frog, I burn. He's gonna take two hands and they start the flame gonna appear and burn, you insects, burn, and like throw like rays at them. And also I have to add plus 3d4. So sorry.
Oh, you got it. You killed him. I'm saying you can describe it. However you kill him, you got it.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. They gonna like start like a lot of rays are just gonna like burn them like they're gonna start sizzling and stuff like that.
There's all sorts of burnt and charred remains of giant fat insects in the boat now. Some of them bob in the water around you as Patrick turns into a living flamethrower and scorches the skies around you, killing all of them.
Yeah.
There'd probably be like crackles from the water that they're covered in, right?
Oh yeah,
like
they're still
steaming
popping and
steaming
steaming. Yeah.
Yeah, and Patrick's gonna. Don't worry, son. I took care of it. You can rest now. I'm gonna say to Charles.
Yeah, I got the pat on the head there. He's somewhat shamefaced and a bit chagrined, and he's just like, good job, Patrick.
Passing all the floating, charred and popping, smoking bodies of these fat insects. There are the pods that they exploded out from, goo falling out of them, but nothing left. All of them having been so hungry at their birthing that they wanted your blood, now all dead. And so you float past them without an issue into the open waters and closer to the stinking pool. And it only takes about another hour before the sun sets, and toward the end of the day, you all, the vanguard of your greater force on the rafts, you can see that growing from a hummock of dry land amongst the foul pools. It's the stinking smoke arising now all around you as you've arrived at the stinking pools. And on this hummock stands a lonely tree, rising 45 feet from root to tip. It is a massive swamp oak. Girth about 8 men could easily link hands around the giant's circumference. 30 feet above the ground, the tree forks in twain. Resting in the center of this division is a round hut, crafted from woven saplings and animal hides. The light breeze stirs ragged hides like pennants, giving you the impression the structure is beckoning you like the arms of a winsome lover. A circular doorway lacking portal or curtain pierces the hut's side, and a wooden ladder tacked to the tree provides easy access.
Since we are approaching our destination, best in case, be careful.
What? Oh, there we go.
Alice will call out, greetings. We've traveled through these swamps in search of a mysterious person.
You hear a voice coming from within saying, please come quickly.
Charles will put his hand up to everybody and just be like, kind of motioning, like, let's not take everything at face value, but he's not saying don't go, he's just saying, like, let's keep an eye out.
Alice will pause a minute in prayer, searching for Justicia's guidance, essentially casting Detect Evil, which just barely squeaks off.
You do not, in fact, sense any evil within.
I want to try to detect magic if it's possible.
Sure.
Yeah. Feel if the magic is there.
You can go ahead and cast it if you want, just to see if you get a better effect. But I'll tell you that it's obvious to you that there are magical things inside. including a disembodied voice that's echoing out from it. So,
you, Alice, can also detect inherently dangerous things like traps and cursed weapons and things like that.
Nice.
Is there anything?
Nothing like
in
that.
that case, yeah, he will approach the ladder and climb up.
All right. And you don't have to worry about spell mutations or anything for this.
Don't worry, just to fail, and that's it.
All right.
It's 11, so.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, he'll take up the rear and just watch as the last person goes in. He'll just see if there's anybody outside that's like watching for us or anything like that.
All right. When you look around, you can see the stinking pools, and it does stink. It smells horrible here. It makes you want to retch. You look as far as you can see things bubble in the surface of the swamp out in the distance. This place is teeming with life, but nothing that you wouldn't find predictable. Though things
not
that
a watcher in the swamp or anything like
right.
that. Okay.
Yeah. And Euelis, when you take up to the ladder, climb up to the entrance of this hut, you see inside a small room filling its gloomy interior. You see a work table covered with crucibles, limbics, other arcane glassware. Twisted bundles of herbs hang suspended from the hut's sapling rafters, and a bed of soft animal furs lies against one wall. The hut smells much fresher than the sulphurous air of the stink pools around it. And this pleasant odor of fragrant herbs, heady but unknown spices, and delicate scent of jasmine hangs in the air. The hut otherwise appears unoccupied. This is what you see from the outside.
It seems that magic is abound, right? Giza will take a short walk around the tree just before he enters, just to kind of reaffirm that it is like the right size, I suppose. But he'll join with the rest inside if we're going in.
All right.
Yeah.
Giza, you can make a... I'm sorry, go ahead, Patrick.
No, come on. Sorry.
Okay. Giza, you can go ahead and make an intelligence check. All right.
19.
You walk around the perimeter checking to see... and actually, I may have missed it. You said... What is it you're checking for? I may have misunderstood before I...
Kind of looking around the tree and just examining it. I mean, his main goal here is kind of like... It sounds like magic is afoot. So
okay.
I have this inkling that it might be bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, right?
Okay. You confirm that is not the case. While this place obviously has its magical contents, this is a hut in a tree. Although well constructed for what's available, you, however, can see as you make the walk around, staring out into the stinking pools, that this place is surrounded by threats like you saw before. Even far off in the distance, pods that house some of those hibernating insects like you saw. You can see things burble under the water, giant reptiles of various kinds. And you even see an island where it seems like some huge reptile has been taken down, flopped over onto its back with its mouth lolling and hanging open, a giant tongue half the size of a man falling out of its mouth, its belly ripped open, giant leech-like insects crawling inside of its belly, pulling its contents out. This is a dangerous place.
Gross.
I warn you, there will be a lot of grossness, and that's okay. I admit it will be. It's gross. Yeah. Yeah.
So, inside the hut, is there any evidence to suggest when the hut was last occupied? Like it looking for like warm ashes or spoiled food, like anything to indicate whether someone's been here like today or not been here for weeks, that sort of thing.
My current understanding is you haven't gone in yet. Looking inside from the outside, with the meager light pouring in, and looking in, it looks like this area has been undisturbed for some time.
I guess Patrick is gonna like try to maybe look inside and but checking like for any like traps, magical like runes that could like do harm or something like that. That kind of thing.
You all are certain that there are no traps.
Okay, so I guess like since I'm versed in magic, I might as well just come first, and then go inside.
Okay. When you pull up the flaps of the outside of the hut and you enter into this place where these herbs are clearing the air, and it actually makes it a relief to be in here. You hadn't realized that for the better part of a day you had been keeping yourself from retching from the horrible smell that grew worse and worse. The inside of this hut with its dried herbs provides a reprieve from that. And it's actually fairly cozy in here and dry. And when you step inside, what at first seems to be a wisp of smoke rises from beside the work table. It looks as if there might be a fire amidst the clutter, but instead, as you kind of like, it seems that way for a moment, the smoke instead twists and widens and then transforms into a translucent form of a slightly built woman dressed in a rough-spun robe, stained by hundreds of mystical workings and strange ingredients.
I make ready to with the spear of law. I kind of get defensive, but I don't attack.
This ghostly woman's face is identical to that you glimpsed in the fire about a day ago. She is short, has fair hair framing a plain, unassuming face, sporting a dusting of freckles, and has a youthful appearance. The spirit's eyes, however, belie her innocence. Each is an amber-colored orb set in deep sockets, ringed, despite her youth, with lines of worry and fatigue, and this earnestness and despair. And with a same familiar soft voice, she says, "I am Lithris here, and I bid you welcome to this. This is my former abode. Thank you for coming. I hope, my champions, I can only hope."
Well, we didn't have anything to do, so might as well, see what's happening. Nice to see you again, child. So, well, it seems you're in a predicament here. So, can you just explain a little bit more what's happened to you? Oh.
Yes, I can tell, I can sense that you yourself are one that traffics in magic and the forces of our multiverse. And that is who I was in life. I, more than anything, wanted to build something that would last. I wanted to create an object of such power and magnificence. Really, if you've existed in our world and you have the ability and the desire for such things, then you know that feeling. But I was a fool. I couldn't find a way to gain the power needed, and so I conducted a ritual.
Well, let me guess further. You tried to contact some kind of demon or spawn of chaos, right?
Yes. Chaos was eager, a being beyond the skein of our existence. If I opened the veil just slightly, there was something from that place that was eager to help me. I won't say his name here, because I don't want to attract his attention to you yet. But he specializes in things like this, and we made a deal that if he would help me in the making of this powerful item, he would have my soul for his own experimentations for all of eternity. But I included something in the contract. I thought that I'd overcome him, because I included something that if I could make it within just a year, that I was no longer bound by the contract. But this spirit, this malignant being, sensed something in me. If you know about magic, friend, you know its dangers. And in experimenting with these things for so long, I had contracted some call it a corruption, others call it a cancer. I was dying, and I didn't know it at the time. And it seemed like I was damned for eternity, but before that happened, I died on the 11th month. And when he came for me, I was able to resist with what magic I had left. I have 12 months, according to the agreement. And so now he waits for me in the lower places, for when my spirit is no longer bound to this place and I have no access to my magics. I ask for your help. Help me to finish this thing of magical power. I don't even need it anymore. I ask only for freedom, for repentance, for redemption from this agreement.
Well,
Tall order.
kind of reminds me of someone, and I'm gonna just look down, you know. Well, lady, I would say that I understand. But it seems like it was very complicated things that you were trying to achieve. You will need to guide me. We have some other people who knows magic. Only with your help, we will try to do it. Well, I think that's, I will definitely help you. It seems because I understand you. In a way, you're like me.
She has a look of both remorse and intense determination on her face. Charles, what were you going to say?
Very unsubtly imply that this is a costly endeavor and, will require a contribution from her more than just good feelings.
I assumed that you would want payment. I gave all of my earthly belongings.
You assumed correctly, milady. You assumed correctly.
It's worth noting what this ring can do, because it is a thing of immense power. And I only want eternal rest now. I have no use for it in the afterlife. Just the completion of it would be the completion of my life's work and my freedom from this demon's power.
So this ring is not yet completed, you say?
That's right. There are 3 steps left in the completion of it that I need help with. And I have enough of my magic left that I can transport you to these things.
Just first, maybe you could tell us what the power of the ring is. What it is capable to do.
What's Jeffica doing?
Jeffica?
Yeah, or
she is any questions? No, she's letting everybody else speak.
Okay.
But
all right.
She is curious about the power of the ring.
Sorry, Eugene. So when Patrick says that, she says, "It will make they who wear it brilliant and beautiful. It can mend broken things. It can mend broken connections between peoples, and it can store a mote of that person's power." So, out of character, it gives you and I'm actually going to change this because I don't care, +2 to intellect and charisma. It can cast mending, charm person, and you can also store a spell in it once per week.
Oh, nice. Well, to be fair, I'm also very beautiful and charismatic, so I didn't know if I needed it. No, I'm joking.
She doesn't laugh. She just looks sternly and determined.
Giza's eyes twinkle, a marvelously powerful item. If we can complete this, it'd be quite a boon for our crew. I'm definitely down for this, chaps.
Well, I just want to help the ladies. That's the one thing that I want to, because I understand here. And probably Patrick Chrysler kind of like, has a similar wear, like he's been alone, like trapped for 60 years, something like that.
She says, I only have 4 days left in the 11th month. And then I can no longer bind myself to the mortal plane, and I have to answer for my deeds.
Well, what do you say, guys? Should we go now? There's no time to waste. Yeah,
and Charles is, he's made his commitment. He'll do it. He just expects to be rewarded in some fashion, but he's fine.
Yeah, Duellis will happily help out someone in need.
What about Jessica?
He'll probably unhitch the snakes and get them prepped for however we're getting to this first area.
All right, she says, I hope that you can be my champions. I must be honest with you. Before this barrier that came into this place, I was able to contact 2 other groups, and one group stole from me and departed and failed me. The other group was true but died. They did complete part of the process, such that only 3 things are left that are needed. I'm running out of time, and you're my last hope. If you fail, then I don't stand a chance. The first thing that you must do is that the ring must be inscribed with mystical sigils that house the ring's enchantment. There's only one person that can do this. He was already bound to the ring and was completing this process. But he was captured by a criminal gang. The second step is there's only one gemstone in the world here that could power the ring itself. And you must go to an ancient pharaoh's tomb and obtain the gem. And the last step is that the ring must be tempered in its magical, in the process of imbuing it with its power, in the fluids of a terrible beast, to seal its power within the band. And you must find a way to obtain fluids from this beast, from its vitae. I think that each of these steps will be a great journey on your part, I'm not going to lie. But I still have the magic to send you these vast distances to where you should go.
Yeah. Well, so you're telling that we are going to some kind of city first?
Yes.
Finally!
And
the reaches! Finally!
I also have, and she motions toward the workman's table with all the instruments. This, and she points to an object, is the journey chime. It's a potent object of yore in the days when I was a powerful arcanist. Unfortunately, it only has a number of charges left, but it's bound to here, to these stinking vaporous swamps. I use this place to protect myself during my works, projecting myself only when needed into the world. But this journey chime, after I send you to your destination, if you use it, it will bring you back here, but it can only be used 5 times.
By the way, seems you were like some kind of, as you say, powerful arcanist. Any chance you have any books or scrolls to learn? I would be very interested to expand my knowledge.
I'm sorry. I know of one thing that I can provide, but I would ask that you trust me. This the knowledge I have can only bring you woe. And that is how to bind powers from the lower planes to craft powerful magic items. Unless you want to share in my fate now.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what got you into this situation, if I'm not mistaken.
Precisely.
I mean, Charles will look at Patrick like, do you think that's a good idea?
No. When you say it like that, it's true. I can see what you did to yourself.
I mean,
and,
I'm not trying to yuck your yum here, but like,
I
don't
do.
know if I'm messing with that.
I do possess knowledge in my adventures and my journeys and my studies, and I can provide that. I promise it. If you can complete this and free me, before I'm freed, I will provide you knowledge of what I know, of the planes, of sites of treasure, of places of learning. I'll tell you everything if you'll just help me.
Well, guys, it's no time to really wait. Might as well just start now.
We can discuss perhaps which of these three journeys we'll take first. But Giza has 2 questions then for this woman before we continue. The first question is, where is this ring? Is it somewhere in this hut with us and I missed it?
No, and the workings on the ring must be done in order. The first thing is you'll need to find Nicodemus Fedge, a woe-touched halfling. It is in fact that because he was woe-touched, that he was able to do what was needed for the ring, and he's already bound to the process. He must begin this process right away, and so that is where you must go first. To that end, I can send you, and let's see, it is... It is a riverside city in a kingdom in Earth. It's a merchant town called Ulvenvar. And that's where I need you to go first. Secondly, far within the deserts, there's a place, a tomb in the great desert of Aerith called the Bronze-Handed Pharaoh. And only the gem that is in his tomb can power the ring. And then lastly, and she pauses for a moment when she mentions this. She's she says, lastly, there is a beast, an abomination there's nothing like it in this world. Odontotyrannus. It is a world destroyer, and long ago it was bound and kept either in a slumber or slain, depending on the legends. I send you to its legendary site where it is said to have been bound by groups of magicians and knights.
It seems it's not going to be a very easy job, but we've been through a lot.
Race to the finish. It sounds like it'll be only 4 days.
Well, there's no time to waste then.
No.
By the way, there's one thing that if you're gonna send us, we have this baggage as well with us, so just don't forget the baggage. It's very important for completion this mission. Yes.
I see.
We have this boat there, with a lot of resources needed to complete this mission.
I see. Please don't tarry. Please help me.
Giza, you were saying something?
Yes, the woe-touched halfling, Nicodemus. That's where we're traveling. That's where you're sending us to search first in the town. And can she tell us anything more, like of who has captured him or what the heck a woe-touched halfling is?
Yes, he, Nicodemus Fedge is a jeweler and a halfling. He was bound to the enchantment process. We had already had an agreement. And so only by his hand can the inscriptions in the ring be completed. It's important for the process that he be kept alive. All is lost if he dies. I will not be able to finish the ring. He has an unusual magic condition. His kind are able to survive in the world despite their size because of a sort of a connection to fate that often sees them coming ahead. Sadly for Nicodemus, for some reason this is inverted in him, and he often brings misfortune and bad tidings to those around him and to himself. I think this is unconscious when it occurs, but I'm sure it's has caused him a lot of distress over the course of his life. And anyways, as part of that, after the agreement with the demon and after I had died, a strange cabal in the city of Ulvenvar called the Sinister Syndicate has captured him. Their purpose for him, I don't know what it is, but they're a strange group of people, a coalition of thieves, clerics, wizards. They don't just commit crimes in Ulvenvar, they commit strange crimes, and they steal strange objects. Their goals are ineffable to most people in Ulvenvar.
Liflazar, is this syndicate aligned against you? Do they realize the great risk that kidnapping this halfling?
I don't think so.
Are they set up against you? And if not, are there any other entities or organizations or individuals that would perhaps we should know about that if we want that their interests are aligned against yours? In other words, are there any other dangers out there that we should be aware of?
Not that I'm aware of, and I have used my powers to scry across the distances to watch. It seems like Nicodemus has just simply ran afoul of them by his bad luck. I don't think it has anything to do with...
They know about you or the risks that you're taking.
I don't think so, although, given their proclivities, I don't know if it's a matter of time until they do find out. And then to what end? If they find out about the ring and its processes, that could be even more cataclysmic. But I can transport you right outside where their lair is. I know, I can see it.
Can you first maybe transport us into the town first, and then we can check out the lair? Maybe you can tell us where it is.
Maybe buy a shield or two, and
yeah,
we need to prepare.
She's able to do this. She's even able to show you the entrance into a warehouse and the streets and where you would need to go. And there are merchants nearby, and I'll talk about that in a minute.
And especially the guys told me there is some kind of like place of golden coral. It's called. You know, they told me that they're going to show me. I'm interested. Is there such a place in this town?
Of what? Of what is it again?
Golden coral.
The Golden Corral. He's referring to that mystical place of feasting. I think it's in Valhalla, but I've never seen it. I know that.
I am not familiar with the Golden Corral, except on other worlds, but not on
Patrick,
Earth.
Perhaps it's beneath the seas, a golden coral. You may have misheard it. It could be somewhere deep in the ocean, for all we know.
I didn't know. You told me that you're going to show me or something like that. I didn't know what you're talking even about.
I want, please, make haste, please. If you would be my champions. I have something else to tell you. Is Nicodemus is being held ransom. They think that he has some powerful patron. I think they assume that is me, but they don't. It's clear that they don't know that I've died. They're asking for something strange, of course. The typical things they would ask for. They ask for a pearl, a peridot, a sapphire, ruby, and emerald stones, one of each, and a full-grown, unblemished sow pig. And I don't know if that will help you, or how you could resolve this. I leave that to your capable talents. But
we can do this, no threat. I think you gave us all the information we need for this first excursion. I think since it's a race against time, we should head straight to the town and cover this crime, this gang of criminals, and rescue that woe-touched Nicodemus.
Thank you.
As soon as possible.
If you're ready, then I can send you to Ulvenvar and to the dregs. Okay. She steps back and she casts a doorway that you can actually see through, that you can simply step through. And when you're ready, you can step through a planar gate.
Right. Here we go.
All right.
I guess we're gonna like somehow take our treasure boat with us. I don't know how, but
I mean, I imagine you can just carry the treasure because when
Grab some sacks and
yeah,
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 like loads of sacks we're gonna carry, you remember that Partik was complaining about his back, but now he takes away like a very good big bag of treasure and just
one in each hand, and he's running through the door.
Campaign complete.
Exactly.
We found it.
And actually, so if you want, this would be a good place to complete the campaign. Like, suckers! Just walk off.
We made it. We won.
yeah.
Whole adventure, we were looking for a shop, and we found it.
Yeah.
So a little bit of time out of character here. First of all, this is what happens. You arrive in a flash of emerald sparks and a brief gust of wind, stepping into a filthy alleyway, barely avoiding an effluent of human waste that is thrown out a window and others running and tumbling down the grim path's center. Nearby, you hear the calls of merchants hawking their wares and piteous supplications of beggars, the angry shouts of drunken argument. Before you, at a distance of some 50 feet, is the building she spoke of, but don't worry, there are other buildings and things nearby as well. It's a modest two-storied warehouse. Its second floor seemingly added as an afterthought and just cobbled on, covering only half the building's lower floor. The brick structures painted in chaotic stripes of green, blue, yellow, red, and now grime-covered and faded. A few small windows are visible on the ground floor, but stout iron bars shutter and cover them. A door of bound oak bearing a small Judas window appears to provide the only entrance and observation. Judging from its strange decoration, it's clear this is the lair of the sinister syndicate. And then, in the town of Ulvenvar, around you, out of character, couple things. Number one, remember, no sex stuff. Yes, I know that is a thing taken from Sword and Sorcery, because it's part of Sword and Sorcery, but I just don't like it and I don't do it. That being said, everything else is on the table. You don't have to set off on doing this right away. It seems to be not the same part of the planet as it is early in the day. That means that you can go to taverns, wash houses, merchants, stores, anything that you want to do in the remaining 12 minutes of our time. If there is something that you absolutely, like if you're the sort that you don't really want to check Discord before next week, tell me right now, I want a chainmail and I want a shield. And then we'll do that right now and you can pay for it.
I'll do it on Discord, Ross. I don't want to slow us down.
Yeah, or you can do it on Discord.
At least for Charles, what he wants to do is what you said, which is go to the closest tavern near the warehouse with the assumption that some of the, low-level minions of this syndicate might be in their cups, maybe like third shifters are done, and so they're rolling off and they're having their morning drink. That's his main thing, is to gather intel and to see what he can learn. Maybe strike up a conversation, find out any kind of information about the warehouse, its layout, all, just like normal montage of like, buying people drinks or whatever it might be.
Now you can do that in character, and we can do that next time, and let's do it. Okay. Let's go to a tavern.
Absolutely. I just wanted to know what his intent is to do that, and I'll take care of the going to the
shopping, right?
Target on
the shopping officer.
Yeah. So I want to offer that. First of all, is there anybody that like does not want to do that? They don't want to look at Discord. Otherwise, you could just post it, and I'll tell you what you have to do, right? Like to barter, buy, and sell, and I can do that in Discord in the chat. Might make a thread or
we can do it in Discord. It's not a problem.
Okay.
Shouldn't waste time on that, like shopping and stuff.
And then the other thing I want to note that I think is important is you can do anything you want here within the time constraints. So can you raise an army? No, because you don't have time, right? But what can you do? You can hire people. You can hire people at higher levels. You have a lot of money. You can get a bunch of level zeros and say, hey, we're hiring people that are adventurers. And you can take them back with you. You can sell anything. You can liquidate things like gems and jewelry and the platinum discs into other forms that are useful to you. You can buy, go to taverns. Everything you can do in an old school RPG, you guys can do that. If it's shopping and buying and selling, let's do it in Discord. I like that.
Yeah.
If it's something like, hey, I want to gather intel at the inn, let's do it in character, because I think that's worth our time.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we should talk about a plan too. Like everything I just said, I'll just share it with the party, basically saying, hey, I'm willing to go do that. What's everyone else think?
Also, remember your whole gang is here, right? Because eventually they came up too, as I said. So you have but you can assume that like in the adventure itself, they're off doing something else, and maybe they're the ones actually doing the shopping and stuff or something. But you have your whole gang of heroes here with you. So,
I mean, also we're not definitely need to storm them or like do something like that. We just can buy those items if they need it. They just ransom, So we hire someone who is like very, knows the market very well, who sells what, and and just maybe he can like find us items. We have lots of money, so might as well just buy all of them.
I need help with something on that because it hasn't come up until now. Is there already a group treasurer? Is there somebody keeping track of monies? Can somebody help me with that? It should all be posted in the
everything. Yeah, everything should be posted or through the videos. Yeah, I've been keeping like a small track of like important things like weapons.
Can you do money. If you do that, Glenn? I'm gonna give you a lot of XP because it's worth it. It's worth it for the whole group, and it's worth it for me.
I remember most of the items that we looted.
You are getting XP for that. So next time though, that's a big deal. Like if you can say, hey, we got 4,000 gold and it consists of 20 platinum discs and this and this and this and this, that's going to be huge for being able to equip people to, like, if you're trying to find weird items to resolve this through money, you can resolve this however you want. You only lack time. So.
All right, yeah, I can get that done later today before tonight's game, to be honest.
Nice. I really appreciate that. Okay, does anybody have anything else that they want in advance of the next session or want to bring up? This is like the first time finally you guys are in a town with stuff and places and like, oh my god, right?
Yeah, I want to buy, like, I don't know if there is like some spells can I buy in that city? Like maybe invisibility spells, for example.
I'm gonna look at it. Yeah, like
I can only learn like two level spell, but I just wondering if it's possible to buy a scroll, at least a very useful one that would help me. I will tell you what kind of magic I want to buy, and yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'll have that prepared. That's a good example because like you just ask for rumors and talk to people until you find the weird hedge wizard or the astronomer. that claims to have some power of magic. Will he?
Yeah.
Can you trust him? We'll see. But yeah,
Well,
that's worth doing in character.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Anything else? No. All right.
No.
Then that's it for this.
That's it.